I'm Zoilin, and thank you for inviting me here. And today I'm going to share my work, The Breath of the Forest, with you. And before I start, let me briefly introduce myself. I got my DMA degree in music composition from the University of Wisconsin-Madison in the United States. I research music composition with technologies, including music AI composition, neural network, sound design, Unity 3D, Max MSP, and 3D immersive music for VR. My LS app, VR Journey, which is a VR game, can be downloaded from the App Store. I also design the algorithm and the music of the outdoor sound and lights installation of the Taiwan Music Institute. I'm currently working on the music, sound effect, and 3D immersive mixing of the VR film, Diving into Siraya, which was exhibited at the Kaohsiung Film Festival in 2020 in Taiwan, and a piece of harpsichord and 3D immersive electronic music. I have been worked as the chief music officer and co-founder at empiremusic.com, which is a company that focuses on AI in music composition. I designed and programmed the prototype and the most important sales of the AI composition systems at Empire Music. Currently, I'm working as a consultant at that company, supporting the research of AI systems and algorithms in music composition. I'm teaching as an assistant professor in universities. I teach music composition and programming language in music. For more information, you may check my personal website, zoilin.me. Today, we are talking about my soundscape work, The Breath of the Forest. Before we dive into the form or the structure of the music, I would like to talk about why I'm using soundscape as a media of presenting my musical thoughts first. I tend to treat my music as the diary of my personal life. I use music to share both the inner feelings and to record outer events. For example, I have composed a piece using my kids' sounds and a piece of my grandmom's speakings. When I composed this soundscape work, I was working every day in a building in a city, and I felt that I missed the nature very much. During those busy days, I happened to have an opportunity to have a concert of my VR work in the World Saxophone Congress in 2018 in Croatia, and thus I squeezed my time and sneaked out to have a 2-day trip to the Plitvice Lake National Park. Therefore, the music serves as the diary of my trip to the park. However, the sounds in the music are not from the park, but rather from open source. We will discuss the reason later in the presentation. Because the sound will be compressed through Zoom, some of you probably listened to the music before the class. But before our discussion, let's view the picture of the park together. The park is full of different sizes of lakes. The water of lakes is super clean. There is only one path, a long path throughout the entire park. Visitors follow the path and they see lakes followed by another lakes until a big cave. The cave used to be a bat cave, I guess. It is very dark and humid. And after the cave, you see a big waterfall with powerful noises. Those sounds impressed me a lot, and then follow the path to leave the park. After a souvenir shop, I ended my tour. Now, guess the reason that I cannot record the sound? Yes, because there are too many people. This is really an issue for preserving soundscape. But luckily with open source Soundscape, I at least preserve my image of the sound in my head. There are three versions of the work. First is PCM version without flute solo, as you can hear in the SoundCloud link I shared to you before the class. The second one is 2D app for iOS. This one is with flute solo, as you can download and hear from App Store. Just search Forest Breath. And the third one is the 3D VR app, which I'm still working on. Hopefully, it will be released in the future. Please stay tuned. Let's talk about the PCM version first. This version follows the path I remembered aforementioned, such as lakes, trees, grass, the big cave, and waterfalls. It reflects the lives and the breath of the forest I sensed during the trip. Every time I went to the nature, I felt I was integrated as a whole with nature where human beings are from. I love the sense of connections between human and nature. It is very important to have natural sound to speak itself. Therefore, I composed this work with 50% of soundscapes and 50% of computer-generated instrumental music. The soundscapes are not backgrounds, but foregrounds, mingled with instrumental music part. I synthesized the sound to mimic the heartbeat of the nature. The instrumental sound mimic the whisper of the forest. In 21st century, we hope to connect the nature more consciously and to admit that the nature is vividly alive, rather than just treat it as a place or space where we are living in and taking things from it without mercy. Let's listen to it. Now let's talk about the 2D app version. In this version, I add another flute solo part into the PCM version. Now the flute is presenting the subjective personal feeling while interacting with nature. Different from most of the interactive music with interactive parts between the player and the music, this work interacts with the audience directly. Now, the PCM version is divided into 8 sections. In this version, the audience will select the 3 kinds of emotions from calm, neutral, and energetic to begin the music. The computer will choose and play a music section from the PCM version with a specific flute passage relating to the emotion the audience selects. After the first passage is about to end, the audience will select the emotion for the following passage, and computer will choose and play another music section from the PCM version, and then continue this process until 8 passages are finished, and then finish the entire work. The paragraphs of nature sounds are symbolic of our life events. Since the music paragraph with nature sounds or life events are selected by computer, you cannot expect which one is the next, but you get the chance to choose your reaction of emotions to the next events and then interact with following unknown events to fulfill your life. This music by its algorithm has more than 997,000 versions for playing. It will give you fun listening experiences. Now, let me demonstrate how it works. Here. Okay. Oh, oops. There you go. Let's start from neutral. Few things I want to talk about this work. The first is why randomness. Someone might think life events may be pre-programmed like destiny, but still feel certain randomness. We react and choose our life events consciously and subconsciously, or even emotionally. Therefore, forms the outline of our life. Similar to this work, the computer will provide sections of natural sound and electronic acoustic sounds by algorithm with randomness. The audience choose the reaction both consciously and subconsciously with selective emotions, and therefore form the outlines or the shape of the music. Second, the randomness in this work compared with AI. Someone might think this kind of randomness is relating to the concept of AI-generated music. However, it is totally opposite concept with AI-generated music. When I'm developing the AI system, I need to predict how music will be shaped based on certain randomness. It is like to predict the shape of the cloud of probability of electrons in quantum physics. However, when I'm composing this work, I decide the form first, and then I compose the just right musical segments of flute parts, which are suitable for certain randomized context, but still maintain the musical outline in a traditional or classical sense of beauty. For me, it requires a lot of compositional skills by human being, but with a lot of fun. The third is the skill for immersive music. In this work, all PCM soundscape files needs to be re-edited in a very complex way, and it requires a lot of listening from daily ambient sounds. So I recommend to have habits for listening ambient sounds carefully every day in different places. You can listen to the comparison of my soundtrack of before editing and after editing on soundcloud.com. With decent headphone, please, otherwise you won't hear the difference. In conclusion, after I composed this soundscape-related music, I found following point of views. First, the improvement of recording technology is like the role of camera in visual art. The relation between soundscape and music is like photography with painting. I find soundscape can provide a different beauty of listening as a kind of art. Second, with the improvement of digital technology, it is easy to mingle the photography with painting, so does the soundscape and music. Thus, a new form of art can be developed. Third, through this work, I experimented the idea of interacting with the audience directly with the form of the music. Fourth, through publishing the music by app, I enjoyed the freedom of presenting my work without limitation of time and space. I also got the result of statistics provided by the platform of App Store, which is interesting and useful. Thank you for listening. Any questions?